Warning: the following program contains explicit content, outrageous opinions, and untrained professionals. It is intended only for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to your uncensored home for World of Warcraft with your hosts, Berzerker and Navox. This is Unshackled Fury.
A new year has begun. We're wrapping up our Covenant campaigns, but this party in the land of the dead is just getting started. Welcome to episode 83 of the Unshackled Fury podcast, your uncensored home for World of Warcraft news and opinions. I'm your host, Berzerker, and with me, as always, is the Shade Hound to my soul hunter. He is Navox. Welcome back again, sir.
Oh, Happy New Year, 2021.
Happy New Year. 2020 hasn't we haven't quite finished those battles yet. It's still holding on a little bit.
No,
but,
no, it's still going on, yeah.
You know, we took a little break, as we are wont to do during the holiday times. And now we're back, and we had an attempted insurrection in between the time you and I were last year.
It's so sad. Yeah, it really is. It was very sad.
So it's been a time.
Oh yeah,
it's been a time. But since we were last here, how have you been, and what have you been up to?
Well, I've been pretty good. I've been just doing the daily thing with Shadowlands and raiding. We down Sire Denathrius on normal, and we're up to Sludgefist. I'm sorry, not Sludgefist. We down Sludgefist this week on Heroic. Yeah, so we got two more bosses on Heroic that we need to do, and I think we'll probably end up getting 2 Denathrius this week on Heroic.
Are you still a casual raider?
No, I've been doing Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday.
Oh my God!
It's a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun.
Good.
It's
Good.
It's not too bad. This raid's a lot better than the last raid BFA, whatever that was. I forget what that was called. That whole shit show. I don't even care. It's just I'm having a lot of fun with Shadowlands.
Old God Nyalotha deal.
Yeah, the whole Nyalotha. That's it, Nyalotha. Like it's so memorable. I forgot the name of it. So, but yeah, I haven't been able to level up any ult, so I've just been concentrating on my main, and I switched from Fury over to Arms because I seem to be liking Arms a lot better just because of the damage output on it and the AoE abilities on it and all that kind of stuff. I'm having a lot of fun with that. I crafted my legendary ring for it, and then every time I hit Avatar, now Bladestorm or Bladestorm cast. If you cast Bladestorm or Avatar, it has a chance to cast one of the other ones, so it's 50-50 chance.
That's fun.
It's like, ooh, what am I gonna do now? We'll see. It's a surprise. It's fun. The other thing, I've been wanting to level my alts through, but I still have that roadblock of I hate that intro quest. I hate doing that intro quest altogether. I don't like it at all. Like I got another warrior through, another warrior alt through, and then I'm like, I'll bring my hunter through, and then it's just Blizzard, we need a skip on that already. That needs to be like, how many times have you done this? Okay, great. Let's just get on with the show. I don't care about the XP. I'll make it up later on. I'm just wanting to play my ults in a new area. I don't want to deal with this crap.
Just get straight to Ouroboros.
Yeah, it's I'm having a lot of fun.
Good.
Torghast is a lot of fun. This week is definitely a group week for Torghast. If you haven't done that yet, it's you take like 5% damage in soul forges, like every 30 seconds or something, or every minute you take some damage. I don't know what it is. I forget what it is, but it's better to go in there with a healer and stuff like that. So, but other than that, I mean, I don't know, business as usual. Just I haven't been keeping up a lot. I don't know if everybody else like this is in the, how everybody else is in the community with their news and stuff, but I've just been too engulfed with the game to really, see what's going on outside of it at the moment. So that's a good thing, because I mean, there's lots of stuff to do, and the game's very entertaining again. I think they did a phenomenal job with it, and this is just the start of it. So
yeah.
But how about you? How are things on your end?
Play catch up. The Covenant campaign was kind of the main focus for me since we started, and that has probably been to the detriment of my rating, so to speak, because I've really been focused on I need to get capped out every week, and I need to do all my quests, and I need to do all this stuff, and so that I think took a little bit more of my focus than probably was good for being a healthy member of a raid team. But it's done, and we'll talk about this a little bit later. You and I both went through the Kyrian experience and saw that all the way through, so we'll talk about our impressions of that. But it was kind of a vacation for me while we've had this time off. I talked about this at length before, and it certainly was true during the last month. Is I played a lot of Cyberpunk, like almost 80 hours.
Oh wow.
And I'm still not done, because I'm just soaking it up. And I know it's been just raked over the coals, and there's all kinds of crazy stuff going on, but I will tell you now, I am also playing on probably what they want you to be playing on, which is a PC with a 3080. Everything's all juiced up, and so I'm getting the it's not perfect, but it's like 99% there. I mean, there's a little bug every now and again, but shit, that game is so big. I honestly would be surprised if it didn't work out that way, but it's been a hell of a lot of fun for me. So it's been a good sort of vacation in a vacation away to see some different stuff and experience something through different new eyes, and that was a good break. But still back on Azeroth doing our thing. I did show up on a Con Before the Storm panel. This is yesterday as we're recording Sunday. This was Saturday the 16th that I was on a Shadowlands panel for Con Before the Storm. It was hosted by Syl from Whispers of War. We also had Jarisar from Technically BVP and Nick Z from Wild Talk, and I know he has another one, Torn and Goblin. Medros, the institution that is Medros in the WoW podcasting community, he was on there. We had a good time, a good chat. So, folks, if you haven't watched the stream on Twitch, you can pull it up on Con Before Storm and see my big, dumb, ugly face on there and what that looks like. Or you can just fire up the podcast and you can listen to it. And you can hear my mic that was too low, so good luck hearing me, because nobody ever tells me when my shit is low.
I don't know. It sounded fine to me.
Did it? Okay.
Your mic sounded great to me. Yeah, it sounded fine.
I gotta be my worst critic. That's how that goes. I might be showing up somewhere else next weekend or this weekend, depending on when you listen to this. So keep an eye out on the Twitters. I may have another appearance somewhere else coming up, so you'll have to keep your eye out for that. I wanted to tell you a little story about something that happened while we've been on break, and this is a good reminder for everyone here that sometimes the solution that you're looking for is often the simplest. And when you're dealing with what we typically deal with in the PC gaming universe, is when something doesn't work, when something feels like it's broken or it's not doing what it's supposed to do. For a lot of us, there's kind of an instant freak out. Like, oh my God, this thing isn't working the way that it's supposed to be working. What happened? What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. So this was this past week, and as is my son's wont to do, most mornings, because we're still doing the distance learning thing at school, he needs me to print stuff off for his day's schoolwork, essentially. but they don't get it until that morning, so I can't print it ahead of time or anything like that. It's always
Right, yeah.
So the way that we have our office and stuff set up here is we have one printer for the house. It's got a line that goes right into the main PC here, this big giant rig I've got. The wireless has never been able to work, and I don't know why. So everything's got to go through this computer. So I got to fire this whole giant thing up just to print off, a couple of math sheets and like a spelling page, some other crap. So I go to fire it up the other morning, and fire it up, and my resolution on my screen's all jacked up. So I've talked about this before, but in case folks need a refresher, I have a widescreen monitor. So this is an ultra wide 3440 by 1440 resolution. It's pretty big. 34 inches, I guess. So it was coming up as a maximum. This is the only options I had. It was like 1028 by 640, something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's a smaller square resolution. It was like basically just the center of my screen. And I'm like, well, that's really odd. And I only had two options. Regular options weren't there. All the plethora of ranges of things that I can pick from, the speed of everything, what kind of FPS I'm getting, all that stuff. It's all gone. I only have two little tiny resolutions. I'm like, well, this is strange. So for this monitor, because of what it is and because of the gear I've got, I use a DisplayPort.
Okay.
That's, the best I can do, and that has worked fabulously ever since I got this monitor, or whatever it was, 2 years ago. So I'm looking at that, and I'm like, well, everything looks fine. It's a new cable. That shouldn't be it. So I start talking to people on my raid team. I'm like, all right, this is the problem I'm having. What do you guys think I should do? Well, check your drivers. So I'm checking all my drivers. All my drivers seem to be up to date. Well, then I check another driver. Well, this driver's got a date from December. Is that wrong? Is that right? No, it's right. It's just the date's weird, and we don't know why. Okay, great. Well, maybe there's something going on with the card. So I unplug the DisplayPort from the back of the GPU, try to plug it into another one, no signal. I'm like, well, that's not good. What do you mean no signal? Pull it out, plug it into a different one, because there's several DisplayPort locations on the back of this card.
Yeah.
No signal. I'm like, damn it. So I go back, plug it into the first location that I had it in, no signal. I'm like, well, this is a problem. Look at the back of the monitor. Everything seems fine. Looking at all the rest of everything that I can see, everything seems fine, but I can't get a picture to come up. I'm like, well, God damn, this is the weirdest thing. And I'm plugging it in. I'm like, well, now we got to go find another monitor. So I go pull up a spare monitor I've got that has an HDMI cable. I'm like, well, I'm gonna try this. Plug in the HDMI cable. Everything fires up just fine.
Oh, wow.
Like, okay, all right. Well, at least the computer's running fine. It's the monitor that's having a problem. Okay, what do we got to do?
Right, yeah.
And I'm looking at it. And I look at the back of the case. And I look at where the GPU is. And I notice something. Where the card, so on the back of, like a standard, size case, you have air vents in the back, the slots in the back. Mm-hmm. And you'll have covers over the spots that aren't taken mostly. Or you can take them off, I guess. And that's where, when you slot in a card or something else, you'll have the ports on the back that you can plug into stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I noticed that where the GPU now sits, it's just a little bit higher in that slot than where it was before. And so the opening is right at the top. And the physical case, was preventing the DisplayPort cable from plugging in all the way.
Oh, wow.
So this entire time since I installed the 3080, somehow it was just barely in there enough, but not actually connected all the way. And as it was backing itself out, it was downgrading its abilities. And so what I ended up having to do was just loosening up the screws that hold in the GPU into the case. And I dropped it maybe 2 millimeters, and that was enough. Clicked right in, and everything was fine.
Oh, wow.
I cannot tell you how badly I was freaking out I was thinking, I got people like, oh, you're gonna have to load into BIOS and do a refresh, and I mean, just all these crazy drastic measures, and I am like in a full flop sweat, like I'm freaking out. Nope, just wasn't plugged in all the way. Just had to make sure that it was. So, it's kind of a microcosm of my whole life, really. Is big freakouts over what in the end are just non-consequential items. So, good lesson for you all out there. Please, just check your connections. Number one, and
there you go.
If not, turn it off, turn it back on again. See if that happens. Or pull out the cartridge, blow on it, put it back in the Nintendo, slide it around.
There
a
you
little
go.
bit, and throw it in. So, before we jump into our rage portion of the show this week, we have a listener question, which I thought would be kind of fun for us to talk about. First off, I want to thank War Doctor for this question. And we got this through our Discord. So if you have not joined the Unshackled Fury Discord, please feel free to do so. We have a link up, I believe, in our Twitter. If not, it's certainly on the Warcraft Radio page, because I know I had to set that deal up. And I'm going to do this live as we record. Is it in our profile? No, it's not in our profile on Twitter. Ask us, reach out to us. I'll put it in the Twitter profile. We'll get that fixed. By the time this uploads, I'll make sure it's in there. So feel free to join us on our Discord. It's not very big at the moment, but it's fun to connect with you folks. And we're you know what? I'd like to give us a little credit, Nav. We're pretty responsive in there.
Yeah.
I'm not throwing anybody under the bus necessarily, but in some Discord channels, I don't know, you may not necessarily get to reach the people you want to reach while you're in there, but damn sure you'll get us. So
yeah, absolutely.
If you want to know what we're up to, feel free to jump in there and join us, and we'll put any dumbass thing you want to talk about on a show. No problem. We'll do
absolutely.
that. So the question from War Doctor to you, Nav, first up. What melee weapons do you prefer to use the most, and or, if you don't have one of those, what is your favorite type of melee weapon to transmog into?
Well, I've been using my favorite weapons are swords. That's my favorite go-to weapon. It also depends on the race and class that I'm playing.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm playing, well, we'll just stick to warriors. We'll cut back on time. We'll stick to warriors. Human warrior, swords, orcs, axes. I mean, it's orcs versus humans. Orcs use axes. Humans use swords. That's typically what I go with. The swords that I prefer using always come to a point. I don't like the swords that, I don't know why people got creative with swords where they're like, let's make this look like, I don't know.
You don't like the blunt end.
I don't like the blunt end swords. I don't like the swords that go out and then have a battle axe at the end of them. I don't like those types of things. I don't like the short two-handed stubby swords.
Mm-hmm.
The one I'm using right now is the one I'm still using the one from BFA, and the same transmog I'm using from BFA. It's my go-to transmog at the moment. It's the Elite Legionnaire set that you got out of doing the war fronts, and I'm using the whole set, especially the sword. For one-handed swords, though, ever since I've been using Kelsorar, the nice green-looking sword.
Mm-hmm.
But recently, since they made that change to legendary items, I swapped over to using Thunder Fury for my one-handed, like my Prot Warrior set. I'll use that, or if I'm using like single-minded Fury, I'll switch over to using Thunder Fury for that. But I mean, it all depends on, like, my dwarf shaman uses axes. I stick with the theme of, like, I don't know, everything's got a theme to it, and I think I associate humans with swords, so that's what I go to with that. I'm trying to think if there's any other fun transmog, because I'm real boring with my transmogs. I keep them all the same. Like I hardly switch out. The one set I really liked a lot was we got it during Warlords of Draenor, which was a reskin of the Burning Crusade spiky looking tier set. I forget what it was called, but we got a blue set, and it
the one from Black Temple.
Yeah, and it's just all spikes coming out of your face, and
Very brutal.
yeah, it looks. I like that one a lot. That one's another one of my go-tos. How about you?
It's mostly swords, two-handed weapons for sure. Swords
Yeah.
I think tend to be the one I go for the most. However, I will say the legendary axe appearance that you get, although it if you look in your inventory, it shows up under swords, but it's clearly a two-handed axe. The one that looks like that big battle axe with the skull on it, and it's got like another little skull hanging out the end on a chain. It's one of the greatest transmogs ever. So I will say that my heart goes with a two-handed sword, but I do love a really brutal axe as well.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. The mace just doesn't do it. There's something about, I guess, pounding, like if you're working on an anvil. It's a different kind of, like, I don't feel like I'm really defeating something. I'm just making it tired.
Yeah, and we, as Kyrian, we got a bum deal because our two-handed weapon is it's a mace.
Yeah.
I wasn't too happy with that.
No.
'Cause I saw the one that the Ventier get, which looks like a claymore, like this nice looking claymore sword, and we can't use it. It's only for Ventier. So I was like, oh, that kind of sucks.
Yeah, it's part of the gamble of picking your covenant. I guess we should have
Yeah, I
gone
know.
Venthyr.
No. I'm happy staying Kyrian. I am now. It's all good. I'm happy with it.
Yeah, the mace doesn't cut it. The polearm just is kind of weird. I guess I could pull out the ice barb spear if I really need to, just for old time's sake. But having a spear handy these days with the Kyrian Covenant, I guess it kind of fills that spot. But to answer this question, yes, two-handed swords are my favorite. Lionheart Executioner probably being the all-time favorite because that was one of the ones I actually made very early on. So yes, feel free. Jump into our Discord. Ask us any questions you like. We'll post them up here and discuss them. We'll make you famous, as a man once said. I don't know how famous. Nobody listens to this, but we'll do our best. All right. Well, it's 2021. Certainly a lot to rage about, and we're just gonna pull one out of the hat here and put something on it. So why don't we go ahead and jump into that?
Let's rage.
Now, Nav, you know how averse to spoilers I am. You know this.
Yes.
I have made no secret of that here.
Right.
I have also made no secret of that in my real life. Whatever this real life constitutes outside of game. When Infinity War and Endgame came around, I was there first night to make sure that I could get into the show without somebody saying something dumb and spoiling the whole thing for me. I kept my ears covered. My wife can attest to this. I kept my ears covered as people walked out of the theater because I was so nervous that someone was going to say something and blow it for me when we'd gotten so close to the end. And she laughed at me and said it was ridiculous. But you know what? Everything was a surprise when I got in there. So who won? But that's the way I've always been since 5 years ago. No. I haven't always been this way. This is the truth. When I first started playing Warcraft and MMO Champion, I remember posted the Cataclysm leak. I think was probably the biggest. I read all that stuff. I ate it all up. I was like, oh, I want all the spoilers. I want all the stuff ahead of time. I want it all. Over time, with stuff in game, I have definitely changed, and maybe it's a sign of me getting older. I don't know, but I like surprises. I like not knowing what's coming, and especially with Warcraft, and it's part of the way that we structure the show. There are things that we talk about on this show a long time after you see people talking about it on other streams. The Taliesin and Evatel are one of the big examples I can think of because they're pretty on top of stuff, and they're always talking about current events in their videos and things that are being data mined and spoilers and stuff. And I don't do it, and I don't want to do it on this show until like we're pretty much in the clear, and certainly not until after I've seen something in real time in game, because I want to feel that impact. I want to know what is my true reaction to this thing, because if you've seen it on, some other place, and you've had a couple weeks to digest it or a couple months to digest it, by the time you actually get to the thing, it loses all impact, and you're like, okay, on to the next quest. I don't care.
Yeah.
It used to be, at least to a great degree, that Wowhead was pretty good about keeping their spoilers behind the cut, as they say, where there would be a brief spoiler, data mined thing, all details behind the link. And I thought that was really good. I'm like, great. All your comments can stay in there, all your synopsis, all your analysis, everything about it. You can put it all behind a one-line link that nobody sees shit unless they really want to see it. Unfortunately, I don't know what's happened over there, but that has changed over time. To the point where now, they're not really keeping all the spoilers behind the cut, and it's starting to really drive me crazy. One of our listeners, Jer, brought this up in our Discord as well, and I agree wholeheartedly, is that there has definitely been a change, at least on that website, where they are not doing a very good job of containing everything behind the cut. And this very specific example that kind of drove me over the edge here was one where there was a cinematic that was data mined. I'm not even going to say what it was about, but it was 2 weeks ago, exactly 14 days ago today, involving a situation. And while not a lot of detail, in fact, not much of any detail was given before the cut, there is a picture that's linked there that clearly shows a huge spoiler of something that's going on. And it's really disappointing and disheartening to see that, because now when I get to that moment, because Nav, you have gotten to this moment in game by now. I have not gotten to this moment still as we discuss this, but I already have kind of an idea of what's going to happen, and it's such a bummer. And we talked about this around BlizzCon time last year. Last year being 2019. I'm just going to pretend 2020 didn't happen. But when we had a BlizzCon last time, and they talked about all the spoilers coming out, and they talked about, frankly, a lot of people inside Blizzard and everywhere else get disappointed when their work gets out early, because then it loses all impact, and I agree. And it's really frustrating to see when all of these other outlets are putting this stuff out there without containing it, when they damn well know there are people like me that are foolish enough to try to avoid all of this stuff, and it's a futile effort. I know. That's why a lot of these segments are tongue-in-cheek. I know I can't really avoid all of it. But it would be nice if they would walk that back a little bit. Now, I don't know if the Gothic sprite that runs that site, has had some kind of change of heart, and this is how they got to do things, or whoever else over there is making these decisions. But it would be really great if they could go back to the way they used to do it and not put anything in front of the cut. Am I crazy here?
No, not at all. Because I went and looked at that spoiler and I was like, oh yeah, I've seen this in game already, but it's clear as day as there's people out there that haven't seen it. So, yeah, I mean, it's I don't know, with Wowhead lately, I go out there for some quest tech stuff, like quest help and stuff like that, but I try to stay off the main page when I know there's something out there that's going to spoil it. So it would be nice if they went back to just a black image with a spoiler warning on it and saying, hey, look, if you want this, here you go.
Yeah, and it's almost impossible to play this game now, as we've long discussed, without consulting that site.
Because it's not only there, it's somebody will get excited and go post it on social media, and then you may not follow that person, but then somebody that you're quote unquote friends with out there retweets it, and then it's on you're like, oh shit, okay, cool.
Scroll right past it. Oh crap.
Yep.
Yeah. So it defeats the purpose. If you're gonna have something where like, oh, spoilers behind this link, then put everything behind the link. Otherwise, it's not really doing its job. So it's frustrating to see, and I wish people knew better or maybe tried a little bit harder on that, but we can't all win. We can't all win. And for those of us that stupidly try to avoid spoilers in our lives in this day and age when it's I mean, I remember when Harry Potter books were a thing. And people used to stand outside of bookstores and long lines and wait for these releases. And I knew people, I'm not saying I was one of them, but I knew people who would find out ahead of time what happened in these books, either because people got, advanced copies or whatever it was, and they would drive by these lines and yell spoilers out the window.
Oh, that's shitty.
And I know people also did that for, that's like I was saying with, like the Marvel movies. Those are the kinds of things you're like, oh, some asshole kid is going to come riding by on a bike or in the back of his buddy's pickup and just yell out, yeah, this happens. Fuck you guys. Because I know that joy. I'm not going to lie. I know that joy, and it's a messed up kind of pleasure, but it exists out there, and I get it. And I'm honestly shocked that I have not, with all my laments, it tells you how nobody listens to this show, and all my laments on this show of me talking about spoilers, that no one's ever tweeted at me, hey, this is what happens, and like force me to read their reply. Now maybe I'm ensuring my own doom by saying this out loud now, but it would be nice if they would go back to the old ways and actually do real spoiler protection. Well, as you mentioned early on, there hasn't been a ton of earth-shattering news since the last time we were here, but there are some things to talk about. So why don't we go ahead and jump into our news? So when we took off for our vacation, we were right at the tail end, as we had discussed, of the race to World First, Castle Nathria. When we last left it, there were 3 teams that were 8 out of 10. Complexity Limit, Echo, and Pieces were the lead dogs on that race. And it wasn't much longer after we posted the episode that this race finally came to a head. On December 23rd, Complexity Limit took that crown, as I think they were expected to. And they seem to be the new top dog. In the wake of Methods, I don't know. They're not gone because they're back. So their rebirth, their downfall and resurrection, I don't know what you want to call that. But Complexity Limit seems to be the team to beat nowadays. You and I talked about this. Neither of us watched, I think, 1 second of this race. I know I didn't. Did you?
Nope. Not at all.
So maybe it's us. I'll admit, maybe it's us. But I just did not get the same sense of a level of excitement like we have in the past, or even just in the last couple of raid tiers. Do you get that same sense, or are we kind of just old fuddy-duddies here?
I know that there's people out there that enjoy the race to World First. I think I've just got to the old fuddy-duddy age where I'm just like, I don't care what these other people are doing with this raid. Like it has no impact on my game. It has no impact on the way I'm playing it, because I get to experience the game and raid with my friends, and I have more fun doing that than watch. Like, I don't know. I don't even watch Twitch all that much anymore. Like, it takes a lot for me to sit down and actually watch somebody on Twitch play a video game, because it's I don't find a lot of the content out there entertaining. And sure, maybe I have reached old fuddy-duddy age. It's just, I don't know. I'd rather be playing the game than watching other people play the game, and it's just, I don't know.
This is the true generational divide.
Yeah, honestly, my nephew can sit and watch Minecraft, whoever play Minecraft for hours and hours and hours on YouTube, to the point where they're just locked in. And I'm like, wouldn't you rather be playing Minecraft? Like, wouldn't you rather? No, I just want to watch, Minecraft Manny do this. It's like, okay, whatever you're doing, do whatever. So.
Yeah, to an extent, I can understand Like the Race to World First, right? It's to me, it's doing the impossible. Because I look at this mythic rating stuff and I go, this is insane. Like you're doing in the time frame that you're doing this in, it's pretty wild to me because it requires so much time and dedication and the effort of so many people to make this stuff happen. Plus, it's you're challenging the mothership, so to speak. Like what is Blizzard's best? Like what are they giving you? It's the hardest challenge to overcome, and watching people do that. Like there's an interest in that. I think there's always been an interest in that. I've always certainly been interested in that. When we've seen at BlizzCons in the past where you've had teams racing each other head to head at the same time, doing raids, not just, mythic dungeons or something like that, but like full on raids, like going back and forth. I thought that was kind of cool. I wish they'd bring that back to some degree. And that actually gets into my point about all of this, which is that for those of us that interest has maybe waxed or waned over time, do you think that there is a way that this whole event could be made more enticing or more exciting to get more people interested in it?
Oh, it's a community-driven event. Blizzard, the only way it would get more traction would be is if Blizzard took the reins and said, yep, this is, we're supporting this. This is something we're getting behind, and we're going to do a live televised event. But no, it's community driven. And I think that's the other thing. Like, there's a lot of popular content creators out there that I just cannot stand watching. Plain and simple. We won't go into names or anything like that. It's just, they just drive me up the fucking wall.
Yeah.
And I can't watch it. And they do a lot of coverage of that media and the race world first. So it's, if I was gonna tune, like I didn't really need to tune in. We had somebody on our raid team that was really big into watching it. So if anything big happened, they linked it in the channel, and we could,
that's nice.
Go out there and see what what Limit was doing at that point in time. And, but other than that, I wasn't, like I said, I just wasn't paying attention to it. But I think if Blizzard got behind it and said, hey, you know what, we're in full support of this, and we're gonna sponsor it, we're gonna back it, and here you go, maybe, I don't know.
And that was my thought as well. If there was a, money being no object, right, wave a magic wand kind of deal, getting the official Blizzard banner to take control of this, I think would be really fun. Because to an extent, it is kind of disparate. We had the Red Bull thing jumping in, and we had the Method thing jumping in, and, it was I don't know. It was not organized in the way where you look at the way that Blizzard runs these PvP events, Arena World Championships, the Dungeon Invitational, stuff like that. Having the Race to World First corralled in more of that manner, I think would help this be like legitimized and would certainly get more interest out of me. Where if you had, because right now, one of my biggest problems, and we've talked about this before, is I don't know what the schedules are. Am I watching live progression? Am I watching the A team, the F team? Well, I don't know. Like, I remember one time I was watching one of these ones, and it was just some jackass who happened to be under the Method banner, and he was just doing his own raid. And I'm like, okay, this is not the official thing. What am I watching? So having, like, okay, we are going from these hours to these hours, and here's the progress that's being made, and having it a little bit more structured and everybody playing, I guess, by the same standards, make it more organized in that way. That, to me, would do a lot to legitimize this whole thing and bring more interest to it. Now, I don't know that they need more interest. Just saying, for maybe some folks like us, it could generate an easier viewing and more engaged viewing. So, but congratulations to Complexity Limit. They're the new champions, and they seem to be poised to take a run at this for a good while. So we'll see what happens. As you mentioned earlier in the show, really the thing that Blizzard, meanwhile, has seemed to have been solely focusing on are updates. We've had lots of hot fixes and small patches, and by my count, there have been 12 since the last time you and I launched a show. That seems like a little more than usual, doesn't it?
Well, yeah. But I mean, with them being off for the holidays and stuff like that, playing catch up. But yeah, I mean, they're pretty invested in balancing out the game and fixing things.
Yeah,
which is a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly appreciate the 8% Fury buff.
Yeah,
that we got the other day. Now I stick with Fury through thick and thin, like some people, but I couldn't complain about that. I was pretty happy about that. But it does seem to me like this is, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. This is a little excessive almost. Like I don't recall in the past this many changes this close together. Am I misremembering? Is this something where we have had this kind of steady change and maybe I'm just more, I don't know, attuned to it right now?
I don't know. I think we have the same amount of changes every expansion. I think they just with player feedback and stuff like that, more things come to light quicker and they're able to jump on it a lot quicker. They, the forums are updated so people can go out there and make suggestions and the devs can see it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I think it's pretty much normal. I just I like the direction that everything's going. It seems like everything just keeps getting buffed and buffed and buffed, which is good.
I'm not going to complain about that.
No, I'm not either.
Unless somebody else gets it and I don't, then I'm going to throw a tantrum. That's what we got to do. That's our duty.
Yeah.
But it's they made the decision to delay the expansion. Right, that was the big brouhaha here at the end of the year. Was we were going to launch this date, and then we ended up launching week of Thanksgiving, and there was a lot of question about how much was actually going to get changed in that time. When we talked to Fraz, a month seemed like about the right amount of time, and so I wonder if this is more stuff that needed to be done beforehand, if this is just standard, because one of the things I think about Cyberpunk and what a disastrous rollout and launch that they had, and that Fallout is fresh even to just the other day when the head of the company comes out and launches an apology video. I mean, that's pretty bad. The Polish government is now having to review all of the work that they're putting out, or there's an increased level of scrutiny, there's lawsuits, there's all these things, right? So I think about Blizzard. Had never delayed an expansion before, recognized that they needed some kind of extra time, let's say. Do you think that they should have asked the player base for even more time? Or do you think that what we're getting now is the scope of changes that should be normal for a launch and figuring out kind of the minor tweaks that don't necessarily break anything?
No, I think the delay that they had was I think it was warranted, and I think that what we got was we got a pretty well put together game. And now they're just making changes to it, and some things that they're going to address, because right now it absolutely sucks, is weapon drops. It seems like people are having trouble getting weapons and things like that outside of PvP. Like, people are suggesting, oh, you should PvP, and I'm like, I don't want to PvP to get a weapon. I want to raid and get a weapon, or dungeon and get a weapon, or something like that. The loot feels very, very scarce in that. The Great Vault's awesome. I'm enjoying that.
Yeah.
But it seems like weapons are not as abundant as they were in BFA. It's not a bad thing. It's just I don't know. If anything can be improved, it could be that. But I think all in all, I think Shadowlands launched. The launch went well. And honest to God, no complaints. I mean, I thought by not picking my choice, by not picking the covenant that everybody says you need to pick is gonna, have a huge impact on me. It didn't. It really didn't. Other than the fact that once I swapped from Fury to Arms, that the Kyrian arms is just that is just I love that spec. I think I might just I might just play that out to the end of the expansion.
Oh my god.
Truthfully, yeah.
I don't want to hear this. Sacrilege.
I'm gonna get you to switch.
Well, it's what you're talking about here is something that we've thought about is in Legion you didn't have to worry about a weapon, right? You always had one and it was always good.
Yeah.
And
then BFA there was too much. BFA there was just way too much gear. In BFA it was I don't know. It was way too much in my opinion. It was okay. So if you need this item, well, we're just gonna keep running the same mythic over and over and over and over and over again until you get it. Mm-hmm. And eventually it'll drop, and eventually, oh, well, I need to run it again because there's a version with a socket that'll drop. So let me keep running it because this will, it's like, I don't know. While we can complain about the loot drops and in raid and stuff, it's very, very. It feels similar to how it was back in the day of Molten Core and Blackwing Lair and things like that, where, I hope this week my weapon drops because we're going to kill this one boss and this is the only boss that it drops from. And then somebody else gets it and you're like, oh, cool. Well, I saw it drop. Maybe next week it'll drop for me.
Yeah.
You just keep getting anima. So
well, and that's where there is a little bit of a rub, I would say, with the way we've done it the last couple expansions versus now with respect to the bonus rolls versus the Great Vault, was that we could target which boss we wanted to try to get that extra loot from. And I will say on many occasions I got a piece I was looking for because I specifically only used my bonus roll, my coin or whatever, on that one boss every week until I got what I needed. Whereas with the Great Vault, it's great to get loot when you're gearing up and here's some loot and there's a couple different ways to get it and here's a bonus piece and it doesn't cost you anything other than the time of doing whatever the events are. I mean, it's great to be able to get gear that way, but at the same time, like to your point, you're kind of left a little bit in the lurch looking for specific pieces at times. So
yeah,
it's because I too share that struggle. Fury rolling with two-handers at this point. I just got one upgrade, and it's an okay upgrade as a raid finder level, right? But the other one's still way down there. It's a piece of shit, and I don't know when that's gonna get replaced. So we'll see. I don't know that there's anything they're gonna do to change that necessarily, because at this point, as we record this now, who knows when stuff will change. As we record this, we have no idea what the next patch is going to be. We have no idea what we're going to be doing. We have no idea what the activities are going to be. Perhaps you've got more gear coming out of whatever that is. And so, if you somehow haven't gotten what you needed in the 4 or 5 months leading up to that patch, hopefully you can catch up with something at that point. That is fairly common. But what I am not seeing a lot of are complaints about the ripcord. Now, maybe I'm just in the wrong crowd. Maybe I just don't run around with those people. But all of the doom and gloom that people were predicting and running around with their hair on fire about how this is going to work out, I'm not really seeing anything. And even this far in, it seems like it's worked out okay.
Yeah, I think so. I think people who pick their covenants are happy with it, and the whole pull the ripcord thing died out, which is good, because that's another movement we don't need.
I haven't seen a lot of balancing when it comes to that. I've seen some preliminary numbers, and I can't remember who posted them, forgive me, but it looked like the distribution of choice that people had made was fairly even. And
sure.
With people like me, admittedly, who I picked who I wanted to pick, it had nothing to do with the numbers, and you have other people that picked who they picked because the numbers, that's their jam. It's pretty spread across the board. It seems like it's worked out. So
yeah, and in the end, the numbers only matter to you. It doesn't really matter. Like, it's
not always.
That's what
not always because you do see a lot of people, and I hate this kind of behavior, and I really wish I meant to say something about this yesterday on Calm Before the Storm. Player behavior the bad player behavior is often what drives a lot of this nonsense, because people will just simply ban a class or a spec or whatever because it's not the optimal or it's not the best for this type of run that I'm trying to do. And I know Blizzard's tried for years to do the whole bring the player, not the class thing, but in practicality, that unfortunately, that's not how it often plays out a lot of times. So,
well, yeah, I haven't experienced a lot of that just because I mainly play with the same group of people every night.
Yeah.
So I guess from a solo standpoint, if you don't have a guild or a group that you run with on a normal basis, I guess it can, be more of a hindrance with that kind of thing. But yeah, in the grand scheme of things, though, the whole Covenant thing didn't really make that all that big of a difference for me, at least.
not in any negative way that I can tell.
No.
It was great. And, since we're already talking about Covenants, you and I did finish the Kyrian campaign, which we have yet to, because I haven't leveled any alts, so I haven't seen any of the other ones. I've seen little, blurbs about some of the other ones, which sound, especially the one in Maldraxxus, sounds pretty crazy, and definitely one I want to check out. But I was surprisingly a little underwhelmed with how that ended, to tell you the truth. If you don't want to hear anything about this, to do the good thing here, feel free to fast forward 5 or 10 minutes. I'm not sure how long this is going to take, but we're gonna open this up and talk a little bit about what actually happened in the Covenant campaign for the Kyrian, and just kind of talk about our reflections of this. I was a little underwhelmed at the end. And part of that is because I had 2 expectations, and that's my fault, because I shouldn't have gone in with any expectations. One, I thought we were going to have Uther brought back like full time. He's like full, regalia, cleansed, the whole thing. We've saved him, and now he's kicking ass by our side and the whole thing. 2, I thought Pelagos was going to, get some kind of ascension or something, or there's going to be some, I guess he can't be ascended because he's going to be our soulbind, I don't know, but something extra would be awarded to Pelagos at the end of all of this, because that was really the person that we journeyed a lot with as we went through the Kyrian campaign, and we were pretty tight with. Other than that, I thought fighting the Forsworn was fun. I thought saving Bastion and going to all the different little, temples and clearing stuff out and going back and forth with them and fighting that sort of existential battle for our souls. I thought it was really fun. And flying around that land is just, it's beautiful. And I don't know if I'll ever get tired of that, but it really is a version of kind of heaven, flowing fields and beautiful places and all that. So part of it was disappointing just because of my own expectations of where I thought we would land. But overall, I thought it was a pretty cohesive story. It took us a lot of different places, tied in with the other covenants, which I did not expect, and I thought that was fun.
Yeah.
But what about you, Nav? What did you think as we culminated and ran through the Kyrian Covenant campaign?
Oh, I hated the whole Maw sequence there. It was good. I mean, the whole thing was, the whole Kyrian thing was great up to the Maw point, because that was... I hate going in the mall. It's just not a fun area.
It was pretty tough,
especially since you can't mount, and there are certain, like this one quest. I think all of the same class. I think all of the different covenants probably had similar storyline, and they probably all had to do the same thing. But like this part of the Uther quest took us into the mall and had to go into an elite area, and then. I don't know. I died several times. I ended up losing like 1,000 Stygia or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was. I hate it.
Helya was down there.
But and it was fun. I mean, that was cool, and it was, it's fun seeing these old, bosses show up, and now Uther's just like at the end of it all. Uther's just sitting up at the Bell of Patience or whatever it is. I think right now,
he's one of the He's with Tuvok at one of the temples.
Yeah, it's the one temple where the jumping quest, where you do the jumping flowers up to the top for the world quest. He's sitting up there. So yeah, we'll see. I still think I think the Forsworn are they're not gone yet, and Eventually, there'll probably be a balance of sorts between the two, because if you look in the Kyrian Hall, you can not only get the regular looking Covenant blue gear, but you could also get the Forsworn purple gear.
That's
so
right.
there's, it just, I don't know, there's little hints there that say, hey, look, eventually, we're all going to work together and defeat the jailer and his weapon and all that. So
something. Yeah, the sequence in the mall, and again, not knowing what goes on in the other ones, that one was pretty tough because you are having to fight. I didn't even realize they were elites. I'm just like, damn, these guys are tough, and I'm getting my ass kicked. So it did take a little bit longer to get through there than I thought, but I was surprised to see Helia down there giving some orders. So that part of that going, I mean, we're going way back now to when Helia was brought in. Back in Legion, and that's still playing out. That whole arc with her, and that was interesting to see. And I was glad Uther finally turned back around, and he's still in the Forsworn, dark robe kind of thing going on, Dark Angel deal. So I assume he's gonna, get light-sided. But I did like the tease from his story where we still don't know a lot about, that injury from Frostmourne and the ties to the Maw, and there's a lot there that's not understood, and so it's leaving that thread out there to be pulled on, which I do appreciate, because I definitely want to spend more time with that being the, Arthas Frostmourne, Ice Crown, Uther mark that I am. We could do that all day. So a little bit of a mixed bag, but overall pretty positive. We got Mechanicos. It's our last little guy there. Well, I always called Mechanicos. I always fucked that name up. I can't remember. But it was satisfying. It was satisfying, but definitely some meat left on that bone. And speaking of your favorite place, and Maw, Torghast, and all that business, there has been a lot of evolution with Torghast more recently. Where they've nerfed the first handful of floors, I think the first 6, and they've started introducing these events in Torghast, which I didn't even really remember from before if they have ever talked about them. Like this week, we have the Beasts of Prodigum. So we have like these extra sort of hunter-style pets that you can bring with you and help you wreck shit while you're in there. We also have the Twisting Corridors that opened up 2 weeks ago, and that's kind of the, I don't know how you describe this, but they're the more challenging wings, I think, of things, or part of all of this, in the sense that there are 18 floors per layer, so you've got 3 essentially boss runs as you go through there, with 8 layers total, and as you get through certain layers, with the 8th being the last, there are rewards. And for you, Nav, that last reward is a mount that you can use in the mall.
Yeah.
But for me, all of this is still too hard.
Well, no, it absolutely is. It was actually, the Anduin quest line was stuck behind this new wing.
Yes.
And I had no idea, and it sucked. Because I thought to when I sat down to do it, I was like, all right, I'm going to go do this quest, because, we rescued Bane, we rescued Thrall, we rescued, Jaina, so I'm just like, okay, so we got to go rescue Anduin, and I'll just do this. It's going to take me 30, 45 minutes to get it done. No, it was 18 floors, and I didn't realize that going into it.
Yeah.
And it fucking sucked, because I went in there on Prot and got to the very last boss of 18 floors and ended up fucking failing, because I didn't have enough interrupts to deal with the last boss that had a death beam that one-shotted you. It was a stupid fucking floating eye that I hate that. It's like, I'm not gonna go back in there till that boss is tuned, because it's just stupid. And at least I didn't know that you could go back through, and as long as you did the first 6 floors again, you got the thing and you could finish that up, which was nice. I didn't know about that. Thank you to the person who posted that on on Wowhead, but there was no indication that this quest that you were going to do was going to be 18 floors. So like 3 hours later, it was 3 hours wasted because I couldn't beat the last boss. You know, it's like,
that's brutal.
It wasn't fun. It just wasn't that wasn't fun. It wasn't rewarding in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
You know, and it doesn't make a player coming out of there feel good about themselves, you know, wasting your time like that, because it's a waste of time. You don't get anything out of it. So
that, I think, is one of the more challenging aspects of something like Torghast that we have right now, where if you don't get all the way through in certain circumstances, it is essentially a wasted run is just kind of how we consider them to be. And
absolutely.
And same as you, I actually figured out pretty early that you could go floors 1 through 6 3 times and be done. But I had to do it in 3 different sessions. I had to do the first run, and then I had to go, you know, log off and do other shit, and then I had to come back for the second run. So it also took me 3 hours to do that, and it was more than I think I had anticipated. Now, I have seen, and I mean, there's always going to be players like this. I've seen people that have complained that the whole thing was too easy and they cleared out all 8 layers, and they were, you know, lamenting how easy it was and shitting all over Blizzard, saying, oh, this was so easy, and I can't believe that they wasted time with this, and now I'm done with this forever, and this is just unbelievable. I mean, good for them. Maybe they got the right runs and the right class, and they're just that skillful, and it worked out beautifully. And cool.
I mean, if you're getting the right powers all the way through, great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But you can have a shit run where you don't get the you know, you know, I can go in there and get the warrior the execute thing. If I get the execute thing early on in the instance, I'm like, this is gonna be a cakewalk. And then I'll minute all the bosses. Like at the end of the boss, you just run up, rage note, and you just fucking spam execute, and it kills the boss. And you're like, oh good, I'm so good at this game because the game gave me the best thing right off. This is so easy, Blizz. You should make it harder. You know, no, it's like, and then there's times you can go in there and it's like, why am I getting this kill Maw Rat shit every single time something drops? It's like, or, you know, it's like, I don't need this, you know, give me something that I can use. But it all depends on the drops. And this week especially sucks because Soul Forges has that, you know, if you don't go in with a group and a healer, you're losing health every so often. And that sucks. But the other one, I forget what it's called. Anyway, you have the Soul Forges and you got the other one that's not the Soul Forges, and that one's a little bit easier to do. I went in there and did that one on an 8 and finished that one this week. So I did that right before our show, actually.
I saw you in there.
Yeah. Jer and I were actually running that with a group, and yeah, we got it done. I wasn't going to do it. I told him, Jared's like, you need to do this. I'm like, I wasn't going to do it this week because I'm only in here because of the quest from the Covenant. And that's about it.
Yeah. I also have that quest that I need to do to go in there and get that stuff done.
Yeah. You can do it at a much lower level too. And if you have to, you can get everything done on a much lower level. Like if you go in there on 5 or 6, you can get it done just as easy. It's just not enough. Like I'm doing Torghast because of the quests that are setting me in there to do Torghast. I'm not doing Torghast to store up for legendary stuff because I got one legendary. I'm happy with it. It seems to be the best in slot for what I'm running right now. And I'm not going out there spending 14 grand on upgrade. I'm not trying to upgrade my legendary because I'm not doing content that really requires me to do that yet. So
yeah, I've upgraded my legendary once. And
oh, nice.
It wasn't that expensive, relatively, I guess. So I had the resources to do it, and you know, what I'm finding is I'm not really motivated, other than personal challenge, to continue to clear out extra layers. Right? It's
yep. No, I understand.
You know, I'm still down in the first 3. I don't think I have a single one at 4. I'm still down in the first 3, and you know, my gear has gotten significantly better in the last couple of weeks since I've, you know, come back from break and been doing stuff. So I think I probably could push it a little bit further now, but I think that was always my question about Torghast, was they said they didn't want it to be essential to progression, really. That was the concern that they had, was that people would be forced into it like they are everything else when it comes to rating and Mythic Plus and all this other stuff. That they wanted it to be something that was just fun and something that you would get essentially non-consequential rewards from.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm not really seeing enough of that to keep me engaged with that specific content, at least as much as I thought. Now, if I was rolling through there as quickly and as frankly as fun as I was in beta, I think I'd be more engaged with it. But it is definitely harder than it was when we were trying it out before it was live. Because when we were rolling through that early, I was tearing shit up. I was rolling through there like a buzzsaw. Now it's, well, I can pull a few and then I gotta wait, and depending on where this drops, I gotta wait for this goo, and I gotta get this mall rat, then I gotta make sure I time this right so I heal myself up, and I gotta get all my stuff aligned to get this last boss. Woo! All right, how long? Oh shit, that was 30 minutes for one floor. That's not the most fun. So and like yourself, I did not clear 18 floors for the first layer of Twisted Corridors. That did not happen. I got to the second boss and I got smoked. And I had some pretty decent buffs at that point. I had some good anima powers. I just got crushed, just completely destroyed. And the big thing was, it's the one where, which one is it? It's not the blob. It's another one, and they get they randomly have the 3 casters that show up. And unless you have like the whirlwind where you're pulling all of them into you, you can't really go get them because they're standing over puddles of crab, and they just nuke the shit out of you. And that's it.
Yeah.
And that part is tough. So if there was still some kind of residual award where you were getting, Stygia, or, you were getting some amount of, something, it would be nice to have some, because if it's supposed to be fun and inconsequential to a point, then what's the harm having some kind of reward? Because you spend the time in there, and it is deflating, quite frankly.
No, it is.
But I'm glad to see that they're trying to make it easier to some degree, and they are adding events, which is good. It's going to, I think, be important as time goes on that they continue to adjust that and keep it interesting. Because that content will, which I think is still very much a centerpiece of this expansion, it will start to go by the wayside. As I think people like yourself and myself get, I don't know, not tired of it, but are not inspired by it, let's say. But a question for you, Nav, is what kind of rewards do you think that they should give in that place, more than what they are now? What would fire you up every week to be like, yeah, I gotta go in and get my Torghast run done?
I don't know, maybe some transmog stuff, or there's already the mount thing, which is nice. Other than that, I mean, I don't think there should be primary like gear, but maybe cosmetic stuff, because I mean, I think that's pretty much it for me. I think it'd just be cosmetic items. Yeah. Cosmetic swords, cosmetic weapons, armor, things like that.
Pets.
Maybe pets.
Care about
I guess. I mean, I don't pet battle, but sure, for the people who pet battle, if that's something you're into, cool.
More mounts every once in a while.
More mounts. That sounds good. Yeah.
How about transmogs for your feasts? Make your feasts look different.
Yeah, I don't know.
Would that get you going?
No.
How about what else could we do? I don't know. I'm running out of ideas. I got one idea.
Yeah,
that was it. It's tough, but we'll see. We'll see what they do, and hopefully they'll find ways to keep plugging stuff in there and keep us coming in. On that note, there was an interview. I don't even know if you can call it that, but there was an article at the least on PC Gamer just a couple of days ago, and it's called The State of World of Warcraft in 2021. And in it, they give a pretty good rundown of the state of the game right now and what's going on and what we as players generally are thinking about it, at least from their perspective. And when the next big update 9.1 might be happening, nobody really knows. And then at the very end, you have a very brief, and I said this to you before we started recording. I don't know if Ian just like answered a couple quick email questions while he was sitting on the can or what, because there is literally like almost nothing here, but it is something. Where they asked him, what should we be excited about or looking forward to this year, and what kind of feedback are you guys trying to work on? And the part about this that, although not very substantial, that did get me excited again is thinking about where we are going to go in this expansion and beyond. And being tight-lipped as usual, but Ian was talking about how this realm that they've introduced of Shadowlands is seemingly a jumping point off to some other stuff.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
That seems to be the indication. Hard to know what that means based on what we've seen so far. I think we're all looking at, we're all trying to read the tea leaves and looking at clues, like where else is there? Like, I don't really know where else we would go. Do you have a sense of where else we might go?
No, but there's a lot of portal options that could happen up there in Oribos. But who knows? Even Oribos, I don't know. Right now, Oribos is the center of everything, but no telling what happens once we wake the Arbiter back up or whoever that is, and the next raid comes out. We'll see what happens there. I don't know. There's plenty of stories to tell. So
yeah, the one line out of this that kind of got me, which I just makes your mind go is this year we'll see players delve deeper into the mysteries of the Shadowlands, including settings even more fantastical than what we've seen so far.
Interesting.
So I think that pretty much confirms we're gonna do this on the show. Rumor confirmed, there are other lands.
Yeah.
I mean,
it could be like Stargate, it's we're jumping to other universes at this point.
That's not a bad thought.
Shadowlands is a jump point.
God, I love that
know.
movie. It's so great. Never watched the show, but great James Spader vehicle. It's hard to imagine. That's all we're left to is our imaginations right now. But I think that's a good sign of, again, we've only seen the tip of the iceberg, and we're really looking forward to, whatever they've got coming next. And so if you want to see that, they also asked him a question about whether or not WoW 2 is ever going to happen. No, but they did ask him a question about that. So if you want to see that, check out the State of World of Warcraft in 2021 on PC Gamer. Last but not least, before we go, you and I have not yet seen this, but apparently there is a new Blizzard launcher on the way.
Yeah.
If you want to see it, I think you can actually go into its beta right now and take a look at it, but I don't know. I want to see when it's live. So we've had different iterations of this over the years. They changed it again recently when they added some things and made it a little more streamlined, shall we say. But for you, Nav, when you have your Blizzard launcher, one, do you even use it?
Yeah,
okay.
I have it. I mean, that's what I use to launch my game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you have yours organized? What are the rankings of your Blizzard games on your launcher?
Like right now, I got World of Warcraft up top, and then and we're dealing with the old launcher, but we've got World of Warcraft up top, and then we got Diablo, and then I have StarCraft there, and then Hearthstone. I don't really organize all this stuff. And then down at the bottom, it's split off between that and the Call of Duty series. So
you don't fastidiously order those into some sort of a preference?
I actually, the only thing I did with the preference was the Call of Duty series, because I put Black Ops at the top because that was my favorite title. But other than that, for the World of Warcraft stuff, yeah, I just put World of Warcraft at the top because that's what I play.
That's it.
It's, that's it.
That's it. What picture do you use for your avatar?
Varian. I have Varian. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, I've got World of Warcraft, Warcraft 3, StarCraft 2, StarCraft, Diablo 3, Overwatch, Heroes of the Storm, and Hearthstone. With
I should put StarCraft and StarCraft 2 together again. I didn't think about doing that.
I kind of put them in the order of what I was playing, because I don't even have all of these installed, quite frankly, right now.
It's so crazy that they got Diablo 3, but like they don't have like that's interesting because they don't have like 1 and 2 option. Like you don't have the option for 1 and 2. That's
what I'm aware of. For the Call of Duty games, I do have the most recent one, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. I do actually have that game because it was included as part of my GPU purchase. So I hopped on that for a hot minute and I brutally killed some guy, and I'm like, you know what? I'm cool with this right now. I don't need this level of violence in my life just at this particular moment in time. I'm cool with that, so maybe I'll get back to that eventually. But yeah, I've also got I did have Varian for a long time as my avatar, but I've got Bolvar, the Lich King, the old the current, I guess, loading screen for Northrend as mine, and it's been a good launcher. I have it very wide so I can see all things on one row, and I'll be interested to see what the new one looks like. So keep an eye out. That is coming. I think it was supposed to roll out North America first and then go global over a period of time. So probably just making sure that it all works. So keep an eye out. Well, I think that'll do it for this episode. Other than this fine program, where can the good people find you on the internet, Navox?
You can find me out on Twitter. I'm at NAV_OX.
As for me, you can always find me on Twitter at Berzerker Rage, and this show at Unshackled_Fury. Feel free to contact the show with your questions, comments, or otherwise by going to unshackledfury.com. And you can find this show wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Stitcher, Spotify, and Pandora. So once again, thank you for listening. Remember to keep your swords wet and your banners high, and we'll see you next time. Farewell.